Good evening, and thank you for joining us. Xinhua News Agency reported former Premier Zhu Rongji died in Beijing after unsuccessful treatment for a disease at the age of 98. Xinhua News Agency released a portrait of Zhu. The Central Committee of the Communist Party of China, the Standing Committee of the National People's Congress, and the State Council all issued obituaries, describing Zhu as an outstanding party member and leader. It said he dared to speak the truth and made every effort to make practical contributions for the people. The obituaries also noted after Zhu Rongji became premier amid the Asian financial crisis, he introduced active fiscal and prudent monetary policies while maintaining stable and rapid economic growth for the country and ensuring the prosperity and stability of Hong Kong with its role as an international financial center. Zhu served as premier from 1998 to 2003 and was a renowned economic reformer. Memo Seng-ai has more on Zhu's career.
Zhu Rongji, known as the Iron-Fisted Premier, cracked down on corruption and implemented economic policies while in office. Zhu's last public appearance was in 2018 at the Diaoyutai State Guest House, where he met with the advisory board of Tsinghua University School of Economics and Management. Zhu was from Changsha, Hunan. In 1951, he graduated from the Department of Electrical Engineering at Tsinghua University. He was assigned to work in Northeast China, serving as Deputy Director of the Production Planning Office in the Planning Department of the Northeast Industrial Ministry. In 1952, he was transferred to Beijing to work at the State Planning Commission. During the Cultural Revolution, Zhu was sent down to Hubei for 5 years. After returning to Beijing, he held a number of positions within the State Economic Commission. In 1987, Zhu became Shanghai's Deputy Party Secretary, serving as a deputy to then Shanghai Party Secretary Zhang Zhemin. In the following year, when he was about 60 years old, Zhu was appointed mayor of Shanghai. He displayed a tough governing style, introducing 3 major projects to solve food supply, transport, and housing problems. He also rectified malpractice within the party. In 1991, Zhu returned to Beijing. Less than 2 years later, he was appointed Executive Vice Premier of the State Council in charge of economic affairs. Facing the problem of triangular debts among state-owned enterprises and crisis triggered by economic overheating, Zhu pushed through reforms of the fiscal and financial systems, as well as implementing macroeconomic control. In 1998, Zhu Rongji succeeded Li Peng as premier. At an anti-corruption conference in that same year, Zhu said he had prepared 100 coffins, 99 for corrupt officials and 1 for himself, stressing that there would be zero tolerance nor leniency toward corruption. Zhu visited the U.S. in 1999. During the trip, he promoted an agricultural agreement between the two countries and facilitated China's entry to the World Trade Organization. Zhu's first visit to Hong Kong as premier came in 2002. He said that Hong Kong was highly important to the central government. If Hong Kong's return to the motherland is ruined in our hands, wouldn't we become sinners to the nation? That won't happen, he said. Zhu stepped down from all public posts in 2003. After retiring, he kept a low profile and rarely appeared in public. The former premier later published several books, including Zhu Rongji Meets the Press. In one occasion, Zhu mentioned how he hoped people would remember him. I only hope that after I step down, the whole country can say one sentence. He was a clean official, not a corrupt one. I will be very satisfied with that. If they are even more generous and say Zhu Rongji also got a few practical things done, I will thank heaven and earth.
Thank you.
Memo Seng-ai, TVB News.
Zhu Rongji visited Hong Kong 4 times and was often asked about Hong Kong during his public appearances. His speeches were remembered by their humor and rapport with audiences. In 1990, Zhu Rongji visited Hong Kong as Shanghai mayor to promote the Pudong Development Project.
不管香港是什么基地，我都愿意来。
At the time, he said no matter what kind of base Hong Kong is, he would be willing to come. He also visited public housing estates in Maongshan and talked with some residents there. As Shanghai's mayor, Zhu said at the time that it would be very hard for Shanghai to catch up with Hong Kong, while noting the port city's relationship with Hong Kong was one of cooperation. By 1997, Zhu had been promoted as vice premier of the State Council. After a visit to Australia and New Zealand, he made a brief stopover in Hong Kong. After Hong Kong's handover in 1997, Zhu took a trip to Hong Kong to attend the annual meeting of the World Bank and International Monetary Authority. There he welcomed bankers to set up shop in China, but jokingly reminded them not to expand too fast in case the costs ate into their profits. The year Zhu Rongji became China's premier, Asia was spoiled by the financial crisis, and he sent Hong Kong a strong dose of assurance. He said if the special administrative region needed help from the central government, as long as the city made a request, Beijing would spare no effort to safeguard Hong Kong's prosperity and security and protect its linked exchange rate system. During his overseas visits, Zhu Rongji often interacted with Hong Kong reporters on the ground. They include taking questions on the Tibet independence movement, where he noticed some demonstrators didn't even know where Xinjiang or Tibet was, and cheekily evaded direct answers to questions seeking his comments on Macau's first chief executive Edmund Ho's performance. Zhu also once said he read 2 or 3 Hong Kong newspapers every day to keep up with the territory's economic situation. In 2002, as Hong Kong was struggling with a flagging economy with a severe government deficit, Zhu visited Hong Kong that year to rally the public.
就是克服香港当前困难的力量。
My fellow compatriots, it's not the end of the road yet, he said. He said Hong Kong could issue 50-year long-term bonds in the mainland and he would be the first to buy them.
用艰苦努力。
Zhu also used lyrics of the classic tune of Below the Lion Rock to encourage Hong Kongers to stand together to weather the temporary setbacks. U.S. President Donald Trump says he slipped away from Air Force One after a trip last month in Turkey because the Secret Service and military wanted him on a different plane due to a threat that he insists didn't scare him. Danny Rao has more.
US President Donald Trump stowed away in an airport catering container to sneak onto another plane, while Air Force One was sent into the sky essentially as a decoy. Trump downplayed the move and the risk to the White House officials, security and support staff and reporters he left on the plane.
So I go by Secret Service and the military. They wanted me to go on a different flight, a different plane, equal safety, but they wanted me to do it, so I do it. I do what they say.
Why did they want you to do that?
I guess there was a threat out there. I didn't really ask too much about it. I get a lot of threats.
Why was it too dangerous for you to fly on Air Force One, but
Well,
not
I don't
too
know.
dangerous
I
for
think
the
actually the plane that I flew on was at greater risk. I think it was at greater risk because that would be the plane I think that they would be more likely to go for.
President, were you surprised, Mr. President, that the Secret Service was telling you to take that third plane?
No, not surprised. I have a lot of threats. I have a lot of threats that you don't know about. Any consequential president has a lot of threats. Non-consequential presidents don't get threatened. And I think that I'm maybe the most consequential president. There's nobody who's done more than me in a period of almost 6 years. There's nobody.
The US president's comments confirmed a report that first appeared in the Washington Post, saying that Trump, following a NATO summit last month, was spirited onto a different plane because of a credible threat from Iran. The president's flight out of Turkey made headlines at the time because he had arrived aboard a luxury jet gifted by Qatar, which was not equipped with some of the same missile detection and countermeasure systems found on older presidential jets. Trump ended up travelling in a smaller government aircraft from Turkey to the UK, only to secretly reboard the decoy jet, then descend from it and climb back aboard the Qatari plane. US presidents have regularly tested the confines of their office, pushing their security advisors to visit war zones as a show of American presence and their own leadership. What's different this time is that Trump was covertly separated from the rest of his travelers, including the press pool meant to provide independent coverage of the president and his actions, and instead of informing the public about what occurred once the risk had passed, the White House still hasn't fully revealed what took place. Analysts say the presence of the White House press corps is as much about protecting the presidency and democracy as it is about covering the story. General TV News.
Welcome back. Search for life in the rubble of Colombia's powerful earthquake grew more desperate on Wednesday as search teams push up against a key time threshold to locate survivors with signs of life. The devastation has tested Colombia's new president, Abelardo de la Espriella, and his government as it scrambles to respond to the natural disaster and civil society as it pushes to provide aid to the vulnerable communities most affected by the quake. Tracy Furness reports.
Rescue teams in Pereira continued through the night to free any trapped survivors under the rubble of buildings that collapsed during Monday's 7.4 magnitude earthquake in Colombia. Then applause rang out as rescuers pulled a 32-year-old woman from the ruins where she had been trapped for 36 hours. According to firefighters, the woman had been located 10 hours before the rescue but had been delicately helped out as she was buried deep under the rubble. Crews said they were working to free another person trapped under the same building. In Cali, Colombia, rescuers digging and calling for silence to hear if anybody was calling out from under the pile of concrete and rubble. Lawyer David Lemos said, until yesterday this was a 4-story building which housed a workshop and a notary's office. The second floor contained flats also on the 3rd and 4th floors. We managed to evacuate everyone. Aid agencies consider the first 48 to 72 hours crucial for retrieving survivors, though the threshold can be extended if they have access to food and water. Mexico said it was preparing to send military personnel, rescue specialists, doctors and emergency supplies to Colombia following Monday's earthquake. President Claudia Sheinbaum said Tuesday that Mexico was waiting for a formal request from the Colombian government. Peru's President Keiko Fujimori oversaw the dispatch of 12 tons of humanitarian aid to Colombia, intended to assist families affected by the earthquake. The consignment will be transported on board a Hercules aircraft belonging to the Peruvian Air Force. Tracy Furness, TVB News.
According to the World Meteorological Organization, the world saw its joint second warmest July on record. This as authorities in much of Europe continue to battle extreme heat and persistent drought. Yanni Rao has the story.
Firefighters sprayed water on the streets of the Albanian town of Gramsh to help people cool down as temperatures topped 40 degrees Celsius. They sprayed the streets twice a day and have made a routine of dousing residents and tourists who are outdoors, sometimes also visiting children's summer camps. Gramsh faced severe wildfires last year, and officials are using the effort to remind people not to start fires. The municipality has also set up a mobile medical service in the city to assist residents, including those spending time outdoors. Meanwhile, residents and tourists in Sarajevo have been slowing down as Bosnia and Herzegovina continues to endure record heat and drought conditions. Thermometers reached as high as 39 degrees Celsius in the Bosnian capital. But the high temperatures didn't deter everyone, with many seen walking along the city streets in the blazing sunshine, carrying plenty of water and taking short breaks in the shade. The largest river completely within Bosnia's territory and named after the country has been dried out amid the heatwave. Dramatic aerial views of the River Bosna show the impact of climate change and a long hot summer across Europe. In Italy, workers clip clusters of grapes destined to be transformed into Italy's prized Franciacorta sparkling wine a full 10 days earlier than anticipated, as scorching temperatures brought the fruit to maturation earlier than ever. Climate change is narrowing the window for harvesting wine grapes, forcing winemakers to make quick decisions when even a few days can mean the difference between a good vintage and a bad one. High outdoor temperatures require the grapes to be cooled before being gently pressed in stainless steel machines to extract the highest quality free-run juice, a crucial step in sparkling wine production that cannot be rushed. Dan Rowell, TV News.
The Agriculture, Fisheries and Conservation Department filed prosecution against a woman on suspicion of keeping 136 dogs without valid licenses. Following complaints received, the AFCD raided an animal shelter in Yunlong. 136 dogs were found there, allegedly without valid licenses. The case will be brought to Tumu Magistrates Courts on September 2nd. Under the rabies regulation, all dogs over 5 months old are required to hold a valid license, which must be renewed at intervals not exceeding 3 years thereafter. Any person convicted of an offense is liable to a maximum fine of $10,000. The Food Expo, now in its 36th edition, will continue to run for 5 consecutive days from tomorrow, bringing global delicacies to the public. This year's exhibition is themed Live Well, Stay Well, and will be held alongside the Beauty and Wellness Expo and the Home and Living Expo. The event brings together over 1,850 exhibitors from more than 30 countries and regions. Exhibitors are making their final preparations. Marking the 60th anniversary of the HKTDC, many participating vendors are rolling out promotions linked to the number 6. This year's exhibition has a different topic each day. During the event, there are also live cooking demonstrations, health seminars, and technology displays. Hong Kong is cranking up its yacht economy push with fresh hopes of smoothing cross-border travel between the city and the mainland. For local boat owners, simpler procedures and a new taste of the open water are the lure. Meanwhile, a lawmaker is urging bolder tourism drives to draw vessels from across the Greater Bay Area into Hong Kong's harbors. Secretary Ip tells us more.
Sunny Chow is setting off for Zhuhai, a weekend getaway with family and friends. It is his first time making the trip by boat. The journey takes roughly 1.5 to 2 hours from Aberdeen to Guishan Island off the coast of Zhuhai.
It's a great experience cruising the boat from Hong Kong to Zhuhai area, definitely. Landscape is one thing. So when you pass by Lantau South, lots of people will keep their eye on the water because very, very often you can get to see the dolphins.
From the end of May, licensed vessels from Hong Kong and Macau can enter designated waters across the Greater Bay Area without the need for a guaranteed deposit. The Royal Hong Kong Yacht Club has rallied around 10 vessels, including Sunny's, for a trial run. But heading across the border takes homework. Skippers must complete a 2-hour online course on navigation rules in mainland waters. Multiple documents are required, including survey reports, ship sanitation control certificate, temporary ship national certificates, etc. Captains also need port clearance within 72 hours of departure and must clear exit formalities with the Immigration Department for their crew within 24 hours. Adrian Pang, former commodore of the club, says the process is now far simpler.
I think the biggest benefit is to the deposit waiver. Like in the past, we have to put down a deposit, and the amount of the deposit could be equivalent to the amount, the value of the boat. It could be up to millions, right? So it will be very difficult to attract people to put down so much money just to come for a day or two. Once you clear custom and immigration and quarantine in one of the ports, and you can travel freely within the Greater Bay Area. And that's the second biggest improvement as well.
After customs inspection and quarantine, sailors will put a yellow flag on a yacht while sailing in the mainland waters. Meanwhile, sailors will also put on a flag to show where the yacht is registered. If it is a yacht from Hong Kong, we will see a Hong Kong SAR flag on the yacht.
A few hours sailing later, the group takes in a couple of tourist attractions on Guishan Island. As a stop on the official recommended yacht route, local tourism chiefs are banking on a visitor boost. Restaurants near the pier are already reaping the rewards. This cafe is expanding its second floor for a bar, predicting a 30 to 40% surge in business. But it is not just about tourism. David Norton, Commodore of the club, sees a bigger prize, hosting races to pull in international vessels.
As more of China opens up, I think that it would be great to have a corridor for boats to come down the Chinese coast, and we would like to set up a series of races along the Chinese coast for offshore racing. And we're missing a kind of a vital link to get the boats from the north down to Hong Kong.
While we are sending vessels across the border, but are we ready to welcome mainland boats in return? Different departments have rolled out measures to upgrade facilities, including introducing 5 designated anchorage and berthing areas for visiting yacht, and plans for 600 new berths across Aberdeen, Hong Kong, and the former quarry site on Lemmer Island by 2035. Lawmaker Perry Yu says he hopes to see more tourism promotion in future to help boost the economy, such as guiding yachts to enjoy Hong Kong through island hopping, sightseeing, dining and retail. He also suggests authorities should think longer term about how to attract wealthy individuals to keep their yacht based in Hong Kong. Sakarib, TVB News.
And that's the news. Thank you for watching.